BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
The Liberal Party is facing a critical juncture, with leader Sussan Ley confronting the distinct possibility of further significant reshuffling within her shadow ministry, irrespective of the ultimate decision on the contentious net zero emissions target. This potential upheaval comes amidst a period of considerable internal turmoil, with Ley having already navigated 2 reshuffles within her first 6 months at the helm. The initial reshuffling was necessitated by the departure of Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, whose refusal to retract offensive remarks concerning Indian migrants and to unequivocally support Ley's leadership rendered her frontbench position untenable. Subsequently, a second reshuffling occurred to accommodate Andrew Hastie, who voluntarily relinquished his frontbench role to pursue his nationalist agenda unhindered. Now, as the party grapples with the highly divisive issue of climate targets, a third, unwelcome reshuffling looms, fueled by the very debate designed to unify the party. The escalating internal conflict surrounding net zero emissions presents a precarious scenario, where resignations appear probable, regardless of the direction the Liberals ultimately choose, as parliamentarians prepare for a series of crucial meetings commencing this Wednesday to determine the party's official stance on the emissions target. Scenarios once considered purely hypothetical are rapidly crystallizing into tangible threats to the party's stability. The intensity of this internal political warfare over net zero emissions warrants an examination of its rapid descent from policy discussion to deeply entrenched factional conflict, just 24 hours after the Nationals made the pivotal decision on November 2 to abandon their commitment to net zero. A significant segment of senior Liberal conservatives launched an assertive opposition not only to the 2050 target previously championed by Scott Morrison but to any emissions target whatsoever. This seemingly coordinated push presented a united front that appeared to corner Ley, for whom the net zero emissions policy has evolved into far more than a mere policy question. It has become a proxy battleground for the very leadership of the party. Following the intervention by the right faction, moderate liberals, visibly frustrated, have embarked on a public and private campaign to preserve some semblance of commitment to net zero emissions, even if the mid-century deadline established under Morrison is no longer feasible. As one moderate liberal candidly expressed, "They didn't realize how pissed off we would be." A key objective for these pro-net zero liberals has been to establish a clear transaction cost, meaning a significant political price to be paid should the climate target be abandoned or substantially weakened. The repercussions of this internal strife became evident early on Sunday when the moderate liberal Senator Andrew Bragg declared his intention to resign from the shadow ministry should the party disavow the Paris Agreement and any commitment to net zero. Following suit on Monday, Maria Kovacic, a factional ally of Bragg, issued a similarly firm ultimatum, albeit articulated with less direct phrasing. Speaking to the 9 papers, Kovacic stated, "As with any area of policy, if the party room decides on a policy that a shadow minister cannot publicly support, they would have to resign and move to the backbench." The message conveyed is unequivocal. If Ley opts to entirely abandon the net zero policy, she risks alienating and losing MPs who are crucial to bolstering her currently fragile leadership. The precise reaction of other moderates on the frontbench, including Tim Wilson and Ann Ruston, to the potential dismantling of the net zero commitment remains less certain. However, the threat of resignations is not confined to a single potential outcome. A senior Liberal source revealed to Guardian Australia that some members of the shadow ministry who are advocating for the abandonment of net zero would indeed be compelled to re-evaluate their positions if a firm emissions target were to be retained. It is possible that Ley could still navigate a path towards a compromise. Discussions with several MPs on Monday indicated a degree of cross-factional support for a position where the party might either discontinue its explicit net zero policy or retain it as a nebulous aspiration, while simultaneously reaffirming its commitment to the Paris Agreement. Such a concession would likely be acceptable to the Nationals, as it aligns closely with their own stance. This nuanced approach could potentially preserve the integrity of Ley's frontbench, her leadership, and the broader Liberal National Coalition, at least in the immediate term. However, It would leave the leader and the dwindling number of genuinely climate-conscious MPs burdened by a policy that could hardly be perceived as credible. It requires no specialist in international climate negotiations to understand that a future coalition government adopting such a stance would be in flagrant contravention of the Paris Agreement, effectively reneging on Australia's existing commitments, which include the pledge of net zero emissions by 2050, without formally withdrawing from the Paris Accord. A move reminiscent of Donald Trump's actions with the United States on two separate occasions. Australia would once again risk becoming an international pariah in the global effort to combat climate change.